I just found out I might have a 15-year-old son from a high school relationship, and now I have no idea how to tell my wife or what to do next. I, 34 am, received a call last night that completely threw me off. A 15-year-old boy reached out to me, claiming I might be his father. At first, I thought it was some kind of prank. He mentioned his mom's name, my ex from high school, and explained that she had passed away from complications due to COVID a few months ago. She had never told him who his father was, but his grandparents finally revealed it might be me. He called me with their permission because he wanted to talk. I didn't react well. I was shocked and speechless, unsure of what to say. Then his grandma took the phone and started explaining everything. She said my ex found out she was pregnant after we broke up because I had decided to go to an out-of-state college, and we didn't want to try long distance. Her parents were against her keeping the baby because she was young, but she insisted on having him. Hearing all of this at once was overwhelming, and I didn't know how to process it. I didn't want to believe it. His grandma suggested we get a paternity test done since I was skeptical, but she told me I should prepare myself for the possibility that I am his father once the results come back. She sounded confident, which only made me more anxious. That night, I couldn't sleep at all. My wife could tell something was wrong, but I didn't have the courage to tell her yet. We've always been on the fence about having kids, and this news would completely change everything for both of us. A teenager isn't exactly a child in the traditional sense, but raising or supporting him would still be a huge adjustment for our lives. She deserves to know what's going on, but every time I tried to imagine telling her, the words just wouldn't come out. Update. The next day, after reading advice online and thinking about how unfair it would be to keep this from her, I finally sat my wife down and told her everything. I explained how the boy had called me out of the blue, what his grandmother had said, and how they wanted a paternity test to confirm whether or not he's my son. She was understandably shocked at first and needed some time to process everything herself. Over the next few days, we talked about it more openly. My wife told me that if he turns out to be my son, then he needs me in his life, and she hoped I felt the same way. Her words really stuck with me because she was absolutely right. This boy didn't ask for any of this. He's just trying to find a connection with his dad after losing his mom. If he's mine, there's no way I could walk away from him. We reached out to his grandparents and arranged for a paternity test. While waiting for the results, my wife and I continued having long conversations about what this could mean for our lives. She admitted that it was a lot for her to take in, but reassured me that she wanted to support me through this no matter what happened. Final update. When the results came back a couple of days ago, my wife and I opened them together. I'm his father. Seeing it confirmed in black and white hit me harder than I expected. I started crying right there. All these emotions came flooding in. Guilt over missing so much of his life, sadness about not knowing he existed until now, and fear about what kind of father I could be after all this time. My wife hugged me as I cried, telling me we'd figure everything out together. Having her support has been incredible throughout this whole process. I don't know how I would have handled it without her by my side. After getting the results, we called his grandparents again and spoke with them about next steps. They were understanding and seemed relieved that I wanted to be involved in his life moving forward. They handed the phone over to him so we could talk again, this time under much better circumstances than our first conversation. I apologized for how poorly I reacted when he first called me and told him it wasn't fair to him for me to act that way. He seemed really understanding about it and said he just wanted us to get to know each other better now that we know the truth. He even asked if it was okay for him to call me dad. Hearing that made my chest tighten in a way I can't describe. I told him of course he can. We're still figuring out when we'll meet in person for the first time since he lives about an hour away from us. In the meantime, he has my number now and texts me every day just to say hi or share little things about himself, like what he's been up to or what shows he likes watching. It's been heartwarming getting these messages from him. It feels like we're already starting to build a connection even before meeting face to face. My wife has been incredible through all of this. She notices little things about him just from our conversations already. For example, she pointed out that he has my crooked smile based on pictures his grandparents sent us. Meanwhile, I've been an emotional wreck. One moment panicking about how drastically my life is changing. What do I do now? Then feeling guilty about missing so much time with him growing up. Then excitedly rambling on about every little detail he shares with me. My wife says staying calm is just her way of processing everything right now, while she focuses on helping us move forward as a family in whatever way works best for everyone involved. We've even talked about the possibility of him moving in with us someday, if that's something he wants down the line. But for now, we're taking things one step at a time. Talking with him every day has already brought so much joy into my life despite all the uncertainty ahead. And knowing my wife supports me through all of this makes me feel like we can handle whatever comes next together.